Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Friday time yet again for another episode of DiabloCast, your Diablo 3 podcast. As always, I'm your host, Dennis Force Duhamel, and with me this week we have got Kevin Sixon Carlino. Hello, sir.
What's up, guys?
And, of course, we've got Jesse Cox as well.
Hello, hello, hello.
Nice to have you both back this week. Kevin, why are you telling me that you can hear me typing? This is very...
Because if I can hear you, I'm assuming that means everybody else can hear you?
No, you have psychic powers. No one can hear me typing. All right, this week we will be mentioning the skill calculator update. Basic attack is still going to be in the game. Also going to take a look at the two most popular classes. European beta invites have gone out. Congratulations to European players. Blizzard cuts 600 employees. Ouch. And new skills, enemies, and locations. Of course, we're talking about the videos that were released last weekend, but let's jump into the first update, which is going to be the skill calculator update. So we mentioned this with the change of the whole skill system and the rune system and all that stuff. With that, we obviously assumed, okay, it's only a matter of time until they update the skill calculator. Well, that has happened. So if you don't have the beta and you'd like to take a look at the new skill layout and the new rune system, you can do so now on the official website. You go to Diablo3.com, you click on the game guide, click on the skill calculator, and then select the particular character that you want to look at. So we can look at the barbarian, and this is all stuff that you've probably seen in my videos or other videos on YouTube, or if you've played the beta yourself. But yes, it is now finally updated. The new skill layout with primary, secondary, and defensive to left, right, and number 1, and then of course the 3 character specific skills as well, so 2, 3, and 4. That whole system is in place. The passive skills and all of their all of the ones that are currently available are all there as well. So this is, again, one of those things where if you don't have the beta or you really love theory crafting and you just kind of want to tool around, this is the kind of thing that you'll want to take a look at. It's a great way to waste an afternoon. I think so. You guys don't agree with me. I guess it's different. I mean, when you have the beta, you probably don't care about this because it's in the game anyways. But this is great for those who don't have the beta.
No, I mean, I definitely agree, and it needed to get updated at some point.
Yeah, so...
I mean,
finally, those slackers at Blizzard updated this thing. My gosh. You know what I'm surprised? Honestly, though, I'm just going to say this. I mean, I guess it's not a huge deal, but like, how can they not prepare this for the time it's launched into the beta? Like,
yeah, I see what you're saying. They should have had it ready by the time the beta came. Yeah.
Got to be cracking the whip here. Give these guys a lot of money. I mean, I bought the year subscription to WoW. I know Jesse did too, so...
Yeah, but isn't it kind of like one of those things where I think either we discussed this or they discussed it, and I'm stealing their words or putting words in their mouth. Either way is fine. It doesn't matter. Either way is okay with me.
Yeah.
But wasn't it discussed by someone at some point at some time that they wanted you to, spend your time in game doing this stuff and going through and checking out different abilities and spells and doing that all in-game, and so maybe they just don't really care that much about having stuff on the site. I mean, yes, it has to be there, but I think that was their philosophy from day one, is that they want you in the game messing around with stuff.
Irrelevant.
Not doing it online. Well, just saying.
No, you know what? We're just complaining about nothing. That's all. We're actually trying to fill time because we don't have a lot to talk about. So,
honestly, that's why I figured I would come, and I saw it wasn't raining, so I figured I would pee on your parade.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, so skill calculator is up. Those of you who don't have the beta and can't see this in game, this will be once again a great thing for you to kind of theorize, do some theory crafting, think about, hey, what do I want to do once the game does come out? With the exception of some minor tweaks, maybe to percent damage and stuff like that, or to duration of certain abilities, I am fairly certain that this is going to be what we will be seeing at retail. The only one amendment I want to make to that is that, for the love of God, they need to make the skill selection process less clumsy. We talked about this last week, and the whole, if I've got a skill already activated on a hotkey and I try to switch it, I can't do it without unbinding the first one and then going back and then binding that one, and that whole process is messy. I think that they can keep the current layout and clean up that process, make it smoother. But the abilities and their rune effects, I expect most of this to be static between now and release, because we're getting close. Guys, we're getting close. That's the 100,000th time I've said that, but
over like the last 8 months.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so there it is. Skill calculator update. Basic attack. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if we talked about this last week or not, to be honest. But I know that I've brought it up. And actually, Jesse, I recently did a video with Jesse, which you can check on his channel right now. Correct, sir?
Right now.
And we did. I'm pretty sure in that video we did talk about the fact that basic attack wasn't in there. But fret not, because it will be back.
We are so connected to them, to Blizzard.
Yes, absolutely.
We're just it's a psychic connection. It's like that between a mother and a baby.
That's a weird thing. I wonder the legitimacy of that. Can you do you think that's real? Let's just.
I'm pretty sure in this case it's not legitimate.
Oh, I'm not talking about us in Blizzard. I'm talking about the mother and the baby
Oh,
thing.
you mean oh? Well, sure, yeah. Didn't you know all babies and mothers are psychic?
Yes.
Total fact.
So anyway, point being, basic attack is going to be in the game. It's just not in the current. It's just not in the current iteration of the beta, but it'll be in the game. They're going to have it. Basic attack. They're not sure exactly how it's going to be implemented. What they've discussed currently, based on the blue post, is that they will map it to the primary attack, which is the left mouse button. So we'll see if that changes or not, how they're actually going to decide to add it. And the reason I think that this is important is because I do feel like they should have it for characters who kind of want to go for unorthodox builds. If, for example, like a I guess it's not that unorthodox because a lot of people like to do it, like a battle mage or a melee wizard. People who want to do that actually do want basic attacks, even though you've got things like Spectral Blade, which do more damage.
Which are infinitely better, yeah.
Yeah, but
so,
but like the difference is like. It's not as cool if you're not swinging an axe. I mean, because when you do Spectral Blade, you're not actually swinging anything, but it's a lot cooler, actually.
But did we take a look at? I don't think we did. But has anyone taken a look at the different runes you can have for the blades? Like, couldn't they possibly modify it that way?
I guess you're right.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah. That would actually be really smart of them if they had. I guess I can take a quick look right now because I don't know off the top of my head the skill runes for Spectral Blade. But if they had a, let's see,
like giant X.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it does. Extends the range, adds healing to it, grants an extra 1 arcane power. But it would be cool if one of the runes for Spectral Blade got rid of the visual blade and just had you actually swing your weapon for like massive damage or something.
I like the blade that heals.
Yeah.
But why would you do that? That'd be like downgrading.
What? Why would it be? I'm just talking about the visual aspect. Like, I think that it could still do the same thing, but maybe visually have it swing your weapon.
Well, you don't know visually what the stuff looks like, to be honest, because they don't say.
Yeah, I guess
they only say what it does.
Yeah.
And visually, they're all over the place when you look at the different runes.
Mm.
So, you know, just because one says, I think when I was messing around with the wizard the other day, it said something along the lines of like gives you 143%, arcane based off your weapon, but it didn't say anything like gives you a cute little starry surprise in the middle, right? Like it didn't say that, but that's what it does. It lights it up and makes it look beautiful. So
I mean, look, if you think of it this way, runes were originally supposed to drop. That in mind, once you found a rune, it made your spells cooler and hit harder. So once you apply these runes, you're obviously supposed to have some kind of visual enhancement to your spell. So I mean, I feel like if they removed the visual and just let you swing your weapon, that'd be like a huge downgrade.
Well, they could compromise with a weapon swing, and at the brunt of the weapon is like blades that come out. I don't know. I'm just saying that if I build like a melee wizard. Spectral Blade, I understand why that should be the primary attack because it hits 3 times and overall it deals more than 100% weapon damage with the 3 attacks combined. Plus it's like AoE. It's not AoE, but it's like cone damage.
Like around you, yeah.
Like that's obviously significantly better than just the weapon. But I mean, if I'm a melee wizard, I want to swing my weapon. I guess this is kind of the same argument that people are having from the monk attack animations and how people were complaining that the monk, all of his primary attacks were using his fist and his feet and not actually displaying weapon animations. And that was kind of like people have taken issue with that. So, I mean, I guess the melee wizards or people even were talking about building melee demon hunters. And I'm not sure where that is in the works, but I've heard people state
I was
that.
playing around with one during the beta. Well, before they made these changes.
Right, yeah, that's the thing with the new changes. I'm not sure if that's still going to be a possibility, because a lot of the primary attacks for the Demon Hunter require a crossbow or whatever, like a ranged weapon.
Yeah, but I mean, like there was what the hell was it? I don't think it was chakram. It's the one where you just threw the knife. Like
there's impale and there's chakra and something else that you could do too. I guess there's still
like
possibilities.
I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Once you get later levels, companion, all kinds of cool stuff. It's doable.
Yeah,
Don't
but
tell me it's not
nevertheless,
doable. It's doable.
melee attack will be there. It is going to exist, so if you want to bind it, you're going to have it in some fashion. They're not sure, again, exactly how it'll be implemented, but it'll be there one way or another. Great.
The only thing about that is, like, by default, if they're going to have it as a primary and as a left skill click, or a left mouse click, I mean, that just means that anybody that doesn't use elective mode is going to be missing out on a skill. Like, that's kind of crappy.
Wait, what? One more time?
Lylira said that they're going to put it by default as the primary category, in the primary category, which is your left mouse button.
Right, right.
So that just means anybody that chooses to use basic attack that doesn't use elective mode is actually, even if you do use elective mode, you're going to be missing out on a skill.
You will be, yeah. That's actually the unfortunate situation
crappy.
because there's only six possible keybind locations.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
So then if you don't use elective mode, you're better off than if you do and put it in there.
But the point is that if you choose to use basic attack, there's literally one less skill slot you can use that you can't bind anywhere else.
Right. No, I think that's. I mean, I'll push back on this. I think that's fine if you're going elective mode. You chose it.
I mean, even if you don't use elective mode, I mean, I think it'd be better if you use elective mode because then at least you can put the basic attack in whatever category you think you don't need to put a skill in.
Yeah. My assumption is actually going to be, I think that like people, maybe they're just doing this to appease complaints. The fact that they're even including
Who would complain about this thing?
Everybody. Everyone who doesn't have a beta and is just itching for this game to come out is complaining about all sorts of things. Well, I don't know. I think what's going to happen is, as we know and as people should know, and if you don't know, I'm telling you right now, the basic attacks in this game do one of two things. They're always going to be more damage than if you were to just swing a weapon. Always. And they either cost no resource or they generate resource. There is no reason not to use your special ability primary attacks in this game. No reason whatsoever. It's always going to be a better situation than just literally wanding something or swinging a weapon. Kevin?
Nah, I agree with you. That was funny. Just wandering the hell out of something.
Well, I mean, and in some games it makes sense, but in this game you don't have to worry about ever being in a switch situation where that's required. The only thing
I agree.
The only thing that's going to happen is you're going to run out of resource. Say I'm a wizard and I'm spamming Arcane Orb, which does cost Arcane Power. If I still try to spam Arcane Orb when I have no Arcane Power, then I will wand attack. But in a situation where I'm using a primary attack like a Magic Missile, there's no Magic Missile is going to do more damage than just a wand attack, and it costs no resource. There's absolutely zero reason to not use it. The only exception, if I'm thinking back, like for WoW, you would want a very quick attack. Maybe if a wand attack was a faster attack speed than your basic attack, then there are situations where, hey, there's someone who's almost dead, and rather than waiting the extra time, even if it's a small amount of time, rather than waiting that extra half a second for a magic missile attack, if I can wand attack and kill something that much faster, then that's great. That's the only exception to that.
I'm thinking about it. They could potentially just add back the skill swap. Like you hit X and it tabs through the second, whatever you call it, on the right mouse button.
Right.
The second slot, and they could just permanently put basic attack in there. So you could just swap back and forth, and you can move it to whatever slot you want. But I mean, my point is, if they just add that back, now they have the room for the extra space, and then they can just put basic attack somewhere in the skill UI, so we can drag it if we have to. There's all kinds of stuff that they could do. I disagree with having to lose out on a potential skill just to have basic attack.
Yeah, it seems silly. I feel like they'll have to do something, like you said, a hot swap, the alternate attack to kind of make up for that if they plan to have it be useful. Jesse, do you have any comment on the idea of needing basic attack in like very small situations? Like, you know what I mean? For example, in WoW arenas, sometimes you'd want to use a wand because it was your fastest attack to kill like totems or something.
Honestly, that kind of goes with my thought. I mean, if you bring up WoW, it goes with my thoughts about the monk class, the new Pandarian.
Right.
That class there is no white damage with that class. It's you're always punching buttons to do any damage.
Right.
And so I always thought, how is that even remotely going to work in a PvP setting? Because you're right, you use your cheesiest attacks, your wand or your just normal hit to get rid of stuff that you can hit with just one shot.
Exactly.
And if you're in an arena situation, you're trying to get rid of a totem, and you have to waste an ability to get rid of that totem by pressing, 1 or 4 or whatever. And that, I think, is... I mean, I've always said that this is going to require a lot of work to get done right. Because it just sounds just ridiculous.
I guess the only difference is that, like, all the primary attacks in Diablo, as opposed to, say, in WoW... In WoW, there's a lot more ability cooldowns than there is in Diablo 3. Like, pretty much every single primary attack that you're doing, bash, magic missile, hungering arrow, like all those primary attacks, they don't cost any resource, they generate resource, and they don't have a cooldown whatsoever.
And that, I think, is where I differ with you guys on Diablo 3, where I again, this is probably because I only, let's be honest, I really only play with my wizard, Crimnox the Sorcerer. Other than that, I have tried, Demon Hunter and Monk classes, but honestly, I guess when you're playing a wizard, you don't need to have that. I mean, unless you want to be like the rare melee mage, a battle mage, and go into combat with your, blades and a weapon. I honestly it's just an unnecessary ability. So for me, I'm just like, whatever. I'm never going to use a primary attack anyway.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a personal thing that I'm like, well, you have a freebie anyway. That's your primary attack. I think that's what Blizzard... I'm pretty sure the philosophy over there is bigger, crazier is better, because it's always been that way. Just notice how the normal human beings look. They're massive, muscle-bound, they're huge.
You mean in Diablo?
I'm just saying, no, I'm just saying, like, in general Blizzard philosophy, right? And in Diablo, the people, that's not the case for the people.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
And so, but it is the case for everything else. When someone dies, it explodes, right?
Yeah.
If there's money, it explodes with money and items, right? They can't show the armor as being massively huge, because that would, how do you do that when you're doing like a top down? Yeah. And so the thing is, well, we have to make it visually explosive. And so I think somewhere they probably had a conference about this. I'm almost positive, where someone said, look, the basic melee attack is sort of cheesy looking, right? You're just swinging or stabbing or you're like pew pew with your wand. And I mean, just use your abilities. Like, go on to a wizard, for example, and use your abilities until you run out of mana, and then watch the difference between your little, your wand that shoots little tiny white dots on your screen that are barely visible to the massive swirling vortex of power that you shoot at people. Yeah. I think I can understand where they're going with this. Again, I'm sure if you're trying to play a class where it was something that you really enjoyed, that this would be, detrimental to your gameplay.
So specifically for Diablo, like, the whole thing about Diablo is not being optimal, it's about being viable. So if I can make a support class that, I have to use basic attack every couple seconds just to regenerate something, because, I don't know, I've got 5 whatever spenders, although I guess if I just try and cast one of those, I'll eventually have enough resources. But I mean, that's silly, because what if I accidentally cast something I don't mean to, trying to use a basic attack? Like, I don't see why we should be forced to not have basic attack. I mean, it's a basic attack.
I guess the good thing is that we're not, like, it's going to be in the game, and if someone wants to use it, they can. But truth is, I think just with this discussion and just looking at it, trying to look at the whole picture, it is kind of pointless to use the basic attack based on the fact that our primary attacks for all the classes generate or don't cost resources and don't have cooldowns. If they had cooldowns or if they spent resources, I could understand wanting to use basic attacks, but it's definitely not going to be optimal. But like you said, Kevin, it could still be viable. Like you can do it. They're going to give the option. They're going to be adding the basic melee attack still in the game, but it's much smarter and much more optimal to use a primary attack rather than just swinging my axe. It's a hell of a lot smarter to bash, you know.
Right.
So.
Right, but again, I mean, optimal versus viable.
Yeah.
So.
Well.
And then I actually just read in the thread that they completely removed all of the passives that enhanced your basic attack skills. So
Right.
like Virtuoso for the Demon Hunter was removed,
Yeah.
and replaced with something else that they didn't tell us. So yeah, I mean, I guess they're pretty much just doing away with the basic attack. I mean, obviously, well, they're discouraging the use of it, I guess. Would be the best way to put it.
Maybe they're saying the basic attack is this primary attack button. It's your left mouse button. That's your basic attack from now on.
Yeah, I think.
Like
I mean, that's like what they're trying to drive home. I'm guessing that they're just still adding in the basic attack, the basic weapon swing
For comfort level.
Yeah, and because people want it. Also, the one thing to note too is up until you have all 6 skill slots available, you could use that. You know what I mean? Like while you're leveling up and you start off with 1 active skill slot,
right?
2 all the way up to 6. During that process of leveling a brand new character, it actually might make sense to have that if you want it, you know. So. All right. Wow, that was a lot more talk about something I didn't think we'd talk about for 5 seconds. So. Great. Now we're going to take a look at the 2 most popular classes. I don't know. Did I tell you, Jesse, what those were?
Wizard Barbarian,
Damn
which
it.
is obvious.
I was hoping I didn't
That's
tell
what
you,
we
so I'd have
played.
you guess to see if it was right. Yes, it is. Blizzard held a 48-hour poll in which they asked, hey, what are your 2 favorite classes? And the top 2, with 25%, first place was the Wizard, and 24%,
Yeah.
second place was the Barbarian. And that makes me sad because those are the 2 I wanted to play, and now I feel like every other Joe Schmo on the internet. That makes me very sad. Yeah, what a bummer. And I know, Jesse, you're going to be playing Crimnox the Sorcerer, so obviously you fall
The
into
greatest of all wizards to ever grace the lands. Yes. No, honestly, again, I think this goes back to what we were just talking about. The reason why they're the 2 most popular is I don't even know if it's well, clearly one is ranged, and it's the obvious choice if you want to play ranged, and one is sort of an in-your-face character. But I think besides that, from what I've played, I would honestly be willing to say I think they're probably the 2 most visually appealing.
Yes.
And so that's why people play them.
Well, I mean, I think what Jesse's talking to, Kevin, before you make your point, is like in terms of their abilities and the physical impact they have on the shit around them.
Yes.
These guys are the most over the top right now.
Right.
I mean, I would definitely say the Barbarian, without a doubt. Like the Barbarian, especially because we're talking about the what the hell do we call it? The moon physics. I mean, obviously, like the Barbarian swings like his little tiny PZS like one-handed sword, and a zombie just flies 50 feet. Like obviously,
reasonable.
You know, and he's just using basic attack.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. After looking at some of the skills from the skill blog that they put up, I mean, like the Demon Hunter had some pretty sick stuff, and the Witch Doctor had like I don't even remember what the hell it was called, Big Bad Voodoo, and like he casts it, and some giant face just pops up out of nowhere and just does a bunch of cool shit. I don't know.
I'm assuming. I mean, obviously, like this is all just impressions that people are having based off of content they've seen. Based on the beta content, these are by far the 2 most kind of overpowering classes. I would say, based on their current available abilities in the beta. I've always said that the Witch Doctor seems so underappreciated, and I always tell people, take a look at the skill tree, look at the abilities that are going to be available to the Witch Doctor as you work your way up to 60. I think the Witch Doctor is going to get more impressive later down the road, but right now in the beta, I would say that the Witch Doctor is the least impressive looking class, and subsequently, look at this, Witch Doctor 16% last place.
I would have said honestly, I would have said Demon Hunter.
And I mean that's the second to last. So.
Right, besides how the Demon Hunter looks, like the sort of like swaggery badass nature of a demon hunter. I think their abilities, a lot of them seem kind of lame to me, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, the top two are the barbarian and the wizard. So, but basically a sorcerer and a barbarian, and people who haven't played the beta, they know exactly what to expect. Like a barbarian, okay, cool. Like I'm gonna melee badass. I'm just gonna kill people. And a wizard, well, obviously I'm gonna have some cool spells to cast. If you haven't played the beta and haven't really been paying much attention, demon hunter. All right, well, like what is that? A witch doctor? Well, I mean, it kind of sounds cool, but like, what is it? You know what I'm saying? So I mean, at least. At the very least, Wizard Barbarian, you know exactly what you can expect when you pick these characters.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's probably a combination of those two. I think the other thing, too, is just in general, people like certain character archetypes. They like,
right.
And you've got the warrior and the spellcaster.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what I'm getting at.
It's like, it's not, there's definitely no question that those are like, it doesn't matter what RPG that you play, you know what you're getting yourself into when it comes to those character types, character classes. So I'm sure, again, a lot of it has to do with that. And this could very well change. Well, this will change at release once people catch wind of class imbalances. Like, let's say the monk is just crazy OP. All of a sudden, you're going to see, oh, I love the monk now. I mean, this is what happens. It's like all the flavor of the month classes that take place in WoW all the time.
And I think Blizzard did themselves a disservice with this poll because the way they orchestrated it, it's pick 2.
Yeah, so that's a weird decision.
People really didn't have to make a hard choice here.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I can pick 2 that I kind of like.
Yeah. I mean, I guarantee most people would have picked Wizard Barbarian.
Yeah, you don't ever see, no one said, like, this is the one I really like.
Yeah.
So it's kind of all over the map because the difference between them, even though you have 25, 24, 18, 17, 16, really the difference between the 25 and the 16 is maybe 1,000 votes as of the last look.
Yeah, right.
So really, it's not that massive of a difference, and it's because people spread their votes out all over the place. So I honestly, Blizzard should attempt this again later down the line.
Now,
and just be like 1 vote only, please.
I'm assuming, I could be wrong on this, but I'm assuming they didn't do this just for shits and giggles, and they're doing this to get actual data feedback to implement in the game. And I think that with the pick 2, although it may not be like a proper representation of the top 2 classes, because maybe everyone picked like a monk, and then if they had to pick a second, it was either wizard or barbarian. Or lots of people picked a demon hunter, and then, okay, if I got to pick another one, it's wizard or barbarian.
Right.
But I think what this definitely does is it definitely highlights the least popular class. If people had 2, and like the class that's in the last, it's like, oh wow, people had 2 choices, and this particular class showed up the least. So maybe with that, they're going to be like, okay, people conceptually don't understand this class or aren't excited about this class. Let's try to bump up the visuals or get some things to get people excited about it.
That's probably true. I mean, right at the beginning, Bashiok was like, yeah, this is just for fun, it's for nothing. And I'm like, oh, cool, let me participate. And then I noticed that it's also on Europe, and like they're putting it on other forums, and I'm like, well, that's kind of weird if it's just supposed to be for fun. Like, how come everybody's copying him,
I mean, it probably could be. I could just be talking out my butt, but I mean... I have to assume that everything that's done is done for a reason, other than like, oh, let's do a poll now. Like,
herp derp.
But the Witch Doctor has always been sort of a niche class. Like it's a class that I don't think a lot of people would ever play. I mean, just a lot of gamers love to play classes based on looks. It doesn't have that
visually. It's kind of
based on the way the spells are cast, and I mean, there's pet management. There's all sorts of different things involved with this class that a lot of people are just like, I'd honestly rather shoot lasers from my hands.
Yeah. I mean, somebody actually said this in the thread. Like, I can't imagine why the Demon Hunter is losing. And Bashiok replied saying, seriously, basically the Witch Doctor is gonna be the one class where, you'll play with one of them in a game, and then all of a sudden you'll just quit and make your own because you find out how cool they are and you didn't know before that. So that actually kind of brings back to what you were saying before, Dennis. They're kind of gauging how many people. See what classes. I don't even know how the hell to word this. I'm spacing out. I'm sorry. They're basically just gauging how many people are liking what classes and what they aren't liking. So I mean, Witch Doctor is obviously losing. Bashiok is here saying, it's really cool. You're gonna love it as soon as you see it. So I don't know. Maybe this will help with the skill blogs.
And during Jesse, did you get any time to do the PvP arena at BlizzCon last year for D3?
I don't think it was last year, maybe the year before. I did, but all the BlizzCons blend together. I'll be honest with you. But
the reason I ask is because of last year's BlizzCon, I stuck with the Barbarian just because I'm stubborn and it's my favorite class. So I'll probably refuse to play anything else. But when I was playing, I was impressed by the Witch Doctor in PvP specifically. The ability. Gosh, I don't know why I can't think of it right now. The ability that lets you turn someone into a chicken.
Right.
Hex.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Hex. That is amazing because in the arena, the Hex for the Witch Doctor, the skills and runes in the arena during BlizzCon last year, it was all set up. We didn't get to choose it. But
it was still fun as
rune
hell.
that they used for Hex had it deal whoever was turned into a chicken took double damage. It was ridiculous. Right. It was absolutely ridiculous because you would just have the Witch Doctor on our team run up in the middle of everyone, cast Hex, and whoever's a chicken, you kill in about half a second. Just everyone focus fires them. It's stuff like that just like make you really impressed. And also the Witch Doctor has the ability to go invisible. Like vanish,
the
basically.
Spirit Realm one, whatever it is.
There's definitely some cool stuff, and I think that...
I mean, the Witch Doctor is definitely huge for crowd control, without a doubt. I mean, Hex right off the bat. They have...
Grasp of the Dead, which is the snare.
Fear. Yeah, they have the Fear spell. They have... And the Zombie Dogs. Zombie Dogs are huge. Like, even if they don't do that much damage, and they're nothing more than just a pain in the ass, like, they're still a pain in the ass. If I'm a wizard, I obviously have to run from them, because if I just sit there and tank them, I'm going to take way too much damage.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, Hex, Fear, Snare, Zombie Dogs, like, boom. Right off the bat, they can control the entirety of the game. Like, that's huge. And I'm going to play Witch Doctor now.
Well, I mean, and for anyone who knows anything about, like, competitive RPG, PvP... when it comes to that type of like competitive environment, crowd control is king in that type of situation. Like having strong crowd control is amazing in any type of like RPG PvP. I think for that reason, the Witch Doctor will have a pretty strong showing in the arena, if nothing else, even if people don't.
The Witch Doctor also has. I'm trying to think of what they are. Maybe it's. I don't know if it's Acid Cloud or the Voodoo spell, but I think maybe both, or just massive AoE spells. They're just on the ground, and if you get anywhere near them, you're taking great amounts of damage.
Yeah, they have a lot of AoE, certainly, and even I think Fire Bats is another one. That's like a frontal cone AoE damage, but really strong. Yeah, I don't know. I think that although the perception might be pretty kind of grim right now of people like not that excited about the class, I definitely think that once the game comes out, there will be a lot of people stoked to play it. The biggest hang-up probably right now is what Jesse said, just visually looking on the game from the outside. The Witch Doctor doesn't look that appealing right now, just for the reasons that in the beta the spells are kind of wimpy, and just like they look like it looks like a sickly old person.
Right. And
like visually that's the character, like
And that I think is the biggest detriment to the class, because even in WoW, pretty much any Blizzard game, or any game for that matter, even the ugliest races are still either like, weird, sexy, or awesome badass, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's true. Like a troll, like a male troll is like, all right, that guy's kind of badass. And they're like, female troll, we'll make her okay, right? We'll make her doable. But this one, it's like you have two decrepit old people. Meanwhile, you have the wizards who, the male wizard, the female wizard, like total badasses, barbarians, right? You have like baby got back with her red hair, and then you got the monks. The monks are amazing. The demon hunters, of course, are like emo badasses, and then the two old men. Hold on, no. Old man, old woman.
Yeah.
Two old men.
They actually grew up with Deckard Cain, little known fact.
They did. Yeah.
The Witch Doctors.
They went to school together.
Yeah, it's interesting, and again, a lot of it is definitely just perception, but that will change at release. I'm sure of it. I am absolutely certain. Now on to discussion of beta keys. European players, the beta key waves have started going out. Please check your email, or actually more to the point, forget checking your email because there may be phishing attempts. Go straight to battle.net, log into your Battle.net account. If you're in the beta, you will be able to just download the client right there. The first wave has gone out. I'm assuming with this there are going to be subsequent waves in the future. And then they also specifically mentioned to be wary of phishing attempts. It will happen. just be careful about it. That's all. And even if you get an email from Blizzard and you see a link, you don't have to click on it. In fact, it's very, very, very well advised that you don't click on it, because if it is a phishing attempt, then you're going to get all your information stolen, and that could be an issue.
Isn't it almost Blizzard policy now? I'm almost pretty sure that they don't even include links now. They say, like, please log into your Battle.net account.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's perfect. People might be like, oh, it's annoying. Why don't they just let me go right there in a link? Well, they're trying to protect you, because there's a lot of people out there, especially now. This is probably the biggest reason they have such a push on account protection, because your one Battle.net account ties into all your Blizzard games. So getting that hacked is a big problem. If you get your Battle.net account, if you play WoW or StarCraft or whatever, and now with Diablo coming up, and especially with Diablo having a direct correlation to people's PayPal accounts, it's going to be scary if you get your account hacked. So
that's for sure.
Yeah. so
get
just
that
be very careful.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I highly recommend getting an authenticator. Highly recommend it.
And the scary thing too is that you can get your account hacked and have no idea if they don't do anything. And
that happened to me.
This is going to happen, and this is what people need to be careful of. Like, there will be phishing attempts, and if people accidentally click on them and accidentally enter their information, what will happen is that person will take your information, they'll log into your account, and they'll be like, okay, this password works, and this is their account, I can log into it, and then they're just going to let it sit there. They have that information, Diablo 3 comes out, you're playing for a month, you have all this stuff in your inventory, one day, randomly, they're going to log on and fucking steal all your shit.
I mean, yeah, that happened to me in WoW. I don't recall clicking on anything. I just, all of a sudden, I hadn't logged into WoW in months, and I guess my account logged in, and my buddy messaged me, and then I automatically logged off. So he messaged me on AIM, and he's like, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, what are you talking about? You just logged into World of Warcraft. Well, no, I didn't. And then, so I went to customer service, and my customer service friend is like, yeah, wink, wink, Chinese farming people are on your account. Yeah, wink, wink. I'm like, oh, well, that's not good. What the hell do I do now? So, yeah, I immediately threw an authenticator on there, because that's what they do. If you don't have an authenticator on your account, they'll put one on. That way you can't log in, you can't get your account back. I've seen that happen numerous times.
That's what happened to me a year and a half ago. Right when they released the final part of ICC. My guild was all ready. We're gonna go in there and do this thing, and then I get a call at 4 a.m, and one of my friends was like, "Dude, why are you awake?" I'm like, what? He's like, "Oh crap, your account's getting hacked." I'm like, "What?" So I jump up, run there, and of course, within minutes, seriously, 5 minutes in, everything's blocked out. They have all my stuff, and Blizzard told me that they were aware of it because it was happening to a lot of people around that time, and it was because of apparently people. If you didn't update Flash and you went to certain websites, I'm trying to think of all the different websites that you would have gone to for how they would have done this, but if you didn't update Flash, people were hacking through old versions of this is insane. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was like, this has to be some evil Blizzard conspiracy where they're forcing me to buy a authenticator. But I gotta say, that was the best purchase I ever made in my life.
Yeah.
Because I don't worry about anything now, and it's hooked up to everything. And now they made it so 90% of the time you don't even have to input your code anymore, because they have a whole system where it verifies where you're at. Yeah. So it's really, if you're gonna get Diablo, or you have StarCraft, or you intend to buy any StarCraft expansions, or any expansions for WoW, or maybe a future game called Titan, you probably want to have this thing.
Yeah. And on top of that, Authenticator is going to be a really great idea. And if for those of you who aren't into a purchase, they are mobile authenticators as well now.
For free.
So, yeah, you can you can just do a mobile authenticator, don't have to pay anything.
Don't lose your phone or you're screwed.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then on top of that, just general online safety, changing your passwords on a regular basis is another smart idea as well. So just trying to keep you guys safe and protect your investments.
I feel like we're at the Apple store teaching a class of 50-somethings how to use a computer for the first time.
Yeah.
Beta keys. Yep, they went out. Congratulations, European players won.
Is that where we came from? Is that how we got to
I believe so, yeah. Back on topic. So, yeah, beta keys are out. Again, check your Battle.net account to see if you won. Make sure you're safe. Get an authenticator if you haven't. Now on to some sad news, actually, and I'm not being sarcastic about this. Blizzard has laid off 600 employees, and we're going to talk about this for a couple minutes. We'll talk, well, maybe it might be more. We'll talk about possible ramifications, where we think this all came from. This was announced yesterday, and there was a message from Mike Morhaime that we will take a look at, but the official announcement coming on investor.activision.com talking about the fact that they're going to be laying off 600 employees. With that, it's important to note that 90% of the infected employees will come from departments not related to game development. So we're talking about things like customer service and support, something that's not directly attributed to the process of developing and releasing a game, expansion, whatever. And also, he goes on to mention that World of Warcraft development team will not be impacted. So of that 10%, of the 600 people that were laid off that were part of development teams, and none of that is from World of Warcraft. That's actually incredibly surprising for me, because I thought that that's where a majority of the layoffs would come from, if anything. So 10% of the 600 people laid off that were in development, they're coming from Titan, probably not, so StarCraft and Diablo 3. I doubt they're laying off people for Titan. That seems very unlikely.
Do we know the exact number of
employees?
I don't.
I seem to recall reading somewhere. I'm trying to find it.
I want to bring that up, actually.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jesse. I didn't mean to cut you off, but...
No, go for it, because I'm going to look for the
I kind of have an answer, sort of. I think it might have been 2-ish years ago. It was either 2010 or 2011. So, yeah, either last year or the year before, I went to a Heart of the Swarm press conference. And, we went on the usual tour that they give us around campus. I mean, it's gotten to the point where I could probably give the tour myself. But the PR lady giving the tour actually said something about how they have close to 1,400 employees. And this was, let's say, 2 years ago.
Was that in Irvine or across the world?
No, that's total across the world.
Wow.
So let's say they've hired 600 since then. So that's that puts them at 2,000. That's still like a solid, a little over a quarter of the company that they just laid off.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything because I thought my numbers would have been wrong. But last night I remember reading it was something along the lines like 2,400, 20. But then I was thinking like maybe it's 24,000 because that sounds like Blizzard's a big company, but then I realized it's a gaming company, so there's no way.
So most of the company is just support.
Right, and that's what I think the major thing is that when they say 600, so I'm pretty sure it's 2,400. So 600 or 2,400, that's a ton of employees.
Yeah.
That's a fourth of your staff. But then I also was talking to a friend who works at Blizzard, and he's part of. It's hilarious that this exists, but he's part of like an alpha team. Like they're like the GMs who have like, oh, we got to go in there and fix this. It's so funny that
Blizzard
even
SWAT
exists. Yeah, and so he was telling me that the 600 employees that he knows are mostly from call center support, GMs and stuff like that.
That's what I would assume.
Quality assurance, the QA people. Because those are like the low-level functionary jobs that they could get rid of without causing much of a fuss. I mean, yes, it is completely, for those 600 people, this is the worst news ever. Yeah, right. I mean, it does suck. And it does suck, I guess, for us on the other end because that means customer support stuff is going to take a little bit longer than it already does.
Yeah.
WoW fans. So, but I'm curious because someone brought this up. Someone actually did the math and posted this, and now I can't find it, which I'm afraid it might have been taken down, which is kind of sad. Someone actually did the math and was like, Blizzard is still making money, lots of money, but they're not making like Activision shareholder money. The kind of money that increases profits for shareholders in the company.
Yeah.
And so that's why something like this would have to happen is in order to, because, once you go, we're going to start selling stock in our company, it's all about getting money for the shareholders.
Yeah.
And so the guy said, look, they're making plenty of money. And the reason why this happened is because they're not making the kind of money that is going to get people who invested in Blizzard the money they need. And so that's why this happened. So he was like, it's almost unnecessary, but it is necessary. Which is kind of a sad state of affairs.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, and this is, unfortunately, there was also mention of how, like, Mike Morhaime put out a message, and we're going to take a look at that in a moment. But then there was immediate rebuttal. It's like, oh, Mike Morhaime made $16 million last year. And so that's true, and as much as it sucks, like, oh, why doesn't he take a $3 million cut and keep these 600 people on for another year?
Right.
Unfortunately,
I guarantee $3
this
million
is
is
big
probably
business.
more than enough.
Like, when you go into corporate America and you move into, like Jesse said, having investors be a large part of where you're getting your money from to produce games, this is just how it works. The big wigs on top make a ton of money, and then unfortunately the low-level people get cut off instead of them take. I mean, it's not always that case. Sometimes, like, CEOs of companies will take a pay cut to keep people around. The only time that's going to not happen at all is if they're non-essential people. And evidently, these are non-essential people. And it's sad, and it sucks for those 600 people. They are getting severance packages and benefits as well. And I'm certain that they're going to get, like, what the fuck is it going to be called?
Recommendation
letters of recommendation to other companies and stuff.
And this, I mean, it comes down to it that once, and most of those people that you're talking about who are like our heads of companies who took a pay cut to save their company or whatever, I guarantee most of those people are in companies that have no stock or shareholders.
Yeah.
Because it's all about perception when you're dealing with how people view your company and whether they're going to buy or sell your stock. It's a whole nother game when you get to that level. And Blizzard's in it now. And so, when people see, the company that I have invested in, the CEO is making a ton of money, and they're doing good jobs, and it means that they have faith in the CEO. It's this weird Wall Street craziness, and that's, of course, why people always freak out when you start talking about, like, money and stuff like that, because it does seem unfair.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's the world they're in now, and so if you're a low man on the totem pole, you kind of get screwed, which sucks. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, well, on the one hand, like, Mike Morheim actually said that they had become overstaffed, so maybe they have just too many people in whatever departments. But I mean, whether or not that's true is not. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's obviously safe to assume that this is a result of the decline in WoW subscriber base. There's no question about that. WoW's growing, it's building up, and they're excited. They're just looking at continuous growth, and then it hits the plateau, and then the decline. And you have to assume that layoffs are going to come eventually as that decline stays steadily,
right,
in a downward spiral. Like, layoffs will happen. If you're going from a situation from incredible growth to plateauing and declining, you can't keep the same amount of employees and pay the same amount of employees that you had while you were still looking to go up.
That's true.
So there's no question that this is a result of that. They're making less money from WoW. That means the business as a whole is making less money. That means eventually, inevitably, they'll have to let people go. Now, if they release Titan this year, then maybe they could have kept them around, but it's not the case.
And this is the gaming industry, which is the most one of the most volatile there are. Like 90% of the people I know who work in the gaming industry, once they're done with their project, are fired. And I mean, that's just the way it is. Yeah, so I guess it's one of those, if you get into it, you know what to expect. But again, these are people who are, answering the phones, answering questions, fixing problems, testing quality of the games. At least that's what I've been told. I honestly have no clue.
Yeah.
But
no, I mean, that's definitely what it seems like.
So it's I guess it's a horrible necessity of keeping profits up, I suppose. Yeah. But at the same time, I think it really hurts us, the players, who are now, if there is a problem, like we were talking about, buy your authenticator. Right now, if you don't have one and someone hacks your account, it's going to take a little bit longer to get that fixed, which kind of sucks.
So crappy. Yeah, it's a rough situation. It's the business world, but it's definitely not nice. So now, in terms of ramifications of this whole process, as we mentioned, 90% of the people are not going to be development related. That means that the development of and actually specifically listed here, the development of Blizzard, Dota, Diablo III, StarCraft II, Heart of the Swarm, Mist Pandaria, and other unannounced projects, Titan.
Now it's plural, so that's Titan plus something.
StarCraft
potentially
Ghost,
more.
Wait, why plus something? Oh, projects,
I mean,
plural.
It's unannounced projects, yeah.
I'm sure there's a Blizzard Facebook game coming out. So
obviously.
Also, in the note from Mike Morheim, after they announced this, he sent out this note to let people, okay, guys, here's how this is going to affect you gamers. Also to assure us that the people let go got their severance packages and all that. He also stated that we're looking to actually get an announcement for Diablo 3 within the next few weeks.
May 8th. I'm telling you.
I was looking to get an announcement like 6 months ago, but I don't know about you guys.
Specifically, we'll have exciting news to share in the coming weeks regarding Diablo 3's release date. Coming weeks. I don't know what that means. That doesn't it doesn't
March.
mean anything to me.
It means we'll find it out in March, and then it'll be released May 8th.
Yes,
again,
there you go.
Again, I'm not saying I'm a prophet, but I'm a prophet.
So yeah, I mean, lots of lots of things to talk about there, and unfortunately, it's a really sad situation. But we just did want to bring it up to you guys, let you know that it took place, let you know how it's going to affect you. It seems for the most part they're still on track to release multiple games this year. That's their plan. And the cuts happened for the reasons we discussed. And again, largely in part, likely to the decline of WoW. It just happens, man. That's just the way it is. Just the way it is. Wow. Craziness.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Jesse.
And then lastly, in more exciting news, we are going to be taking a look at what was released last weekend. Last weekend, we got a slew of new videos in which we were able to take a look at various skills and locations and enemies. And I actually did a little compilation video of it, and I'll just be playing that in the background here while we talk about it. But this was really good, and this is just part of just like we were talking about with the beta key giveaways and everything that's going on, the fact that European keys just went out today, the whole new fresh wave. All of this stuff is part of the ramp up and excitement for getting people ready for the game. Them releasing these skill videos is a part of it. I thought it was pretty cool. Kevin, what did you think about the skill videos? I mean, a lot of these skills we already knew about, but it was nice to get a fresh new look at them, I thought.
I definitely thought they were pretty sweet, and it actually kind of made me think a little bit. Like, I went through and looked at all the classes. Every class has a companion type skill. Not that it matters. I just thought it was kind of interesting. But I definitely think that these are they're being used to just gain more hype. I mean, it's really ironic, but I'm helping out with a StarCraft related project, map making related project, and one of the things that I had tossed an idea out there is hey, why don't you guys show off the classes you're making, like with little YouTube videos? And then 2 weeks later, Blizzard does this whole thing with Diablo 3 class skills. Like, look at all these skills that we're making. Let us show you a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, obviously this is hype. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's pretty cool, but I feel like if they just released the game last month, we wouldn't need to see this.
Right, of course. Yeah, no, I mean, I liked it, and I'm sure that, there's been a lot of speculation in terms of where the areas are, like the snowy area. Kevin, where did you say that it was believed that area was that was displayed?
I mean, off the top of my head, I want to say that that's around the Bastion Keep.
Yeah.
The Barbarian
Seems reasonable.
homeland place. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was cool. I mean, again, nothing groundbreaking. We pretty much we have a good idea of where the locations will be already in the game anyways, based on like looking at loading screens and things that have been discussed at BlizzCon panels and all sorts of stuff. But it was nice to see some new things, and it was nice to get a fresh new look. And Jesse, did you have a chance to take a quick look at these videos as well?
Yeah, I did. I think maybe besides Ray of Frost, I don't remember. But I think that's the only one that you can actively have in the beta right now, is Ray of Frost for the Wizard. But every other one is above 13, I think.
Unless they changed it.
Yeah, Disintegrate's not available anymore.
Yeah, Disintegrate's level 20
okay.
now.
Yeah,
So,
like I said, I basically stopped playing the beta because I wanted to, like stream it all. Oh shit! Sorry.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
That's Blizzard calling
All
right
right,
now.
hang
Like, stop!
They're mad.
Stop talking about us. I think that on the list of videos, only Ray of Frost is the one that is one you can use now. Every other one is above level 13.
Yeah.
So maybe this is Blizzard's way of not only showing you abilities that you can't play with these, but these exist, but also saying like you're not going to get to play with these because there is no more beta coming out. Guess what? We're just going to release the game. Hopefully I'm reading into it too much, and that is truth.
Yeah. No, that'd be awesome. That would certainly be awesome.
Guys.
And all signs point to the fact that it's coming May something. Jesse said
May 8th.
May 8th. I'm
Mark
not going to
it on your
remember
calendar.
that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
If this doesn't release it May 8th, it will be in the store May 8th. Something will happen May 8th. May 8th is an important day. I don't know why.
Very important.
This is.
If I recall, didn't we say that CBIT was May 6th through the 8th, I think? Is that what it was, Dennis? We talked about it last week.
It's March, right? I think it's March.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
March 6th through the 8th, because if that's the case, then they do exactly 2 months, then it could potentially be May 8th.
Telling you right now.
I don't know why we keep talking about this. Stupidest crap ever.
The relative of I'm the great grandson of Decker Kane, and
Yeah.
I foresee it.
What? There's the kid that's name was Deckard Cain, and that's where Deckard Cain was named after. Did you see that, Jesse?
Yeah, that was the best Reddit post I've ever seen in my life. I was like, this cannot be real. And then when he showed the thing that Blizzard sent him, like, you've won a contest. I was like, no.
Yeah, I mean, I even asked,
Yeah,
I think it was Bashok. I asked Bashok, and he's like, I'm not sure. And then, like, a couple of days later, he's like, yep, that kid's real. I'm like, that is so intense.
I know.
It's a riot.
There was a dude really named Deckard Cain. That's amazing to me. Like, if that kid is not getting, like, just a million women, I am so mad at life. The world is not fair.
That's too funny.
Awesome. I wish I was that kid. Seriously, I wish I was that kid.
I know, right?
Like, imagine if Deckard Cain was really named, like, Kevin Carlino. Like, that would be ridiculous.
That'd actually be super stupid.
It would be stupid as hell, but it would be cool for me.
Yeah,
like, his name's Dennis DeHamel. Like, you'd be pumped, wouldn't you?
Unfortunately, our names are nowhere as good as Deckard
I know.
Cain.
The kid's real name is Elder Deckard Cain.
Yeah. Yeah, his name is Deckard Cain Elder. So they called him Deckard Cain the Elder, you know?
That's ridiculous.
So, yeah, that's just way too intense for me.
Too much. And that's that. That's all the news for this week. We're going to, of course, wrap things up with some community questions. If you don't know, we do our community questions on the Facebook page. You can find my Facebook page at the link at the top of the YouTube channel. There you go. Go over there. Ask a question. And, yeah, we'll be answering these at the end of every DiabloCast, as we have been doing for some time now. Even though we sometimes get some really bad questions. We need good question askers.
Yeah, that's for sure. Although we always answer a pretty decent amount of questions. I'm surprised. You do a good job.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a look. We're going to answer, here's a basic one, while we rifle through for some legitimate questions. Question asked, will we be able to play it also offline, or does it require full-time internet connection? There is no offline mode in Diablo 3. That is not going to be happening. You must be connected to the interwebs to play the game. It is just required. Reasons why, there's a whole slew of reasons. A big part of it is that they want to make sure they can prevent duping. That's what they've said. They also want to make sure they can have that they can control the user experience, meaning that they can make sure that there's always a solid user experience. They can patch things quickly. There's plenty of arguments against it. That's the explanation that we've got, so that's kind of what we have to relay for you guys. I mean, that's as far as we know.
You should definitely take the question right under that, Dennis.
Why? No.
I mean, come on, like, what's up with these questions? Like, a dude named Chad wants to know how many nude pics it's going to take for a beta key. Obviously, from a guy named Chad, I'm not taking any. Somebody else, like, what do you think barbarians like with their ice cream?
Well, that's a legitimate question.
Oh, I bet there's a good joke there. Like, it has to be like a good, like, 7th grade joke. There's got to be a good pun in there somewhere. Oh, I don't have one. I don't have one, but I'm saying there has to be.
Oh, no. What do you think about barbarians with ice cream? What do I think about? Barbarians with ice cream.
I'm racking my brain trying to think of a good answer to that, and
like
I have
the barbarian skills, just go through them all right now. Obviously, it's got to do with, like, Rend and, like, Call of the Ancients.
I don't know.
Yeah, cleave and ignore pain when I eat ice cream.
All right, here's a good one. Enough stupid talk.
Yeah.
Question from Luke.
And when it's all gone, they war cry.
Stop asking stupid questions.
And they ask for revenge. They go into a frenzy. All right, go ahead, Dennis. I'm sorry.
Question from Luke. Given how the current patch is, what do you think needs to be or will be changed for final release? So I'm going to go first, and then we can hear you guys if you think any major changes should or need to be made. I've said it before, I just think the way you select skills to assign them to your left and right mouse button and then hotkeys 1 through 4, that needs to be less clumsy. It's not a good system right now. If they can just clean that up, make it smoother, it's going to be great. As long as they do that, I'm pretty happy with everything else. Jesse, what do you think? Anything that they need to change from the current beta before release?
I was actually thinking about this the other day after we recorded our video. Why couldn't they have the bottom, the hotbar system be kind of like a shaman in WoW with the totem system, where each of because there's only 4 down there, right? So each of those, you know, if you move your mouse over it and then you click a little tab, like a little tiny tab right above that, it opens up a mini screen that shows you every ability you can put in there without having to go to it at one screen and then click on that and then go to the separate section, you know. And that, I think, would be a lot easier, and you could do it right on the screen while you're playing.
Yeah, but I mean, if you do it that way, then you have to open up four or six different windows in order to put skills in instead of just one.
Well, no. I mean, this is just an on-the-fly sort of thing where.
Oh, you mean like you just see them right there? Like you highlight over it, click it, and then boom.
Yeah, I mean, once you set up your thing in the window that normally exists now, right? I don't think there needs to be a major overhaul. Just the way it is now, you set up your runes and all that, and then if you want to switch between spells and skills down in your hotbar, just like with your totems in WoW, you can decide which ones you want to use, and just move it there without having to edit anymore because you've done that already. So it's like a faster way to go in and do it. And maybe you can have presets where, just like in WoW with your shaman, you have 3 different presets of totems.
That would be amazing if they allowed for 1 or 2 or 3 presets of builds.
Right.
So you could go in real quick and change it.
Yeah, that would be really, really. I really like that idea. That's a really good. Jesse, you should work at Blizzard. They hired you and then they fired you.
Just get laid off. Yeah.
I'd be the first one gone. They'd be like, well. We have your idea, see ya. Actually, they don't need to pay for it because they just stole it right now.
Man, making light of a rough situation. Question from Michael. Did Bashiok get fired? He's non-essential staff, right?
Obviously. Wow. I don't get to throw my opinion in for Lou's question, though. That's cool.
That is too funny.
That's fine. Alright, I'm going to throw it in there. I don't care what you guys say.
Will there be hardcore permadeath in Arena? As far as we know right now, that is not going to take place. The reasons cited where they felt it was too unforgiving of a system, which sounds stupid because that's what hardcore is supposed to be. I think the idea is that if you play hardcore mode, you obviously can't. They're not going to allow you to do Arena versus softcore characters. The thought that they're having is that if they have permadeath in hardcore Arena, people would just not do it. I think that they're just really worried about the community and whether or not people would even ever do it. With that said, it has been stated by Jay Wilson that in some fashion they want some sort of hardcore permadeath in the game. It could be some crazy arena type a la Jesse Cox idea.
I hope so.
Or just like a duel, or just like a 1v1 duel to the death.
Right. In Diablo 2, like there are communities. I mean, we're all bored. Okay, let's go do an Iron Man. So you hit level 9, so you're allowed to duel, and then you just duel until you die, and that's how it is. Like, and it's hardcore, so you obviously lose your character. I mean, I don't know. It's just fun. So obviously there are people that enjoy doing them. So eventually, I would like to see something like Jay Wilson said.
Question from Alan. This is one we've answered in the past, but figured for new people like Alan who don't know the answer. What is your take on this rumor that the maximum amount of players in co-op will be 4? Alan, I apologize. It is not a rumor. It is 100% confirmed. Maximum player in co-op will be 4. The reason Blizzard has given is that many more than that, the screen clutter gets too much with all the abilities and everything flying in every which direction. Also, they felt that beyond a certain point, and I guess 4 is the point that they selected, people become non-essential or basically slackers and don't actually assist to the group. If you look at Diablo 2 and when you had 8 people in a party, there was like always 2 to 4 people just sitting around twiddling their thumbs. And I think they want to have a smaller, more cohesive group. Again, that's the explanation that we've been given in terms of that.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I mean, obviously, there's, the clear reason that people don't have more than 3 friends, so...
That's correct as well, yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's obvious, right?
Right. And that will do it for this week's episode of DiabloCast. As always, guys, we thank you so much for listening. I know I said we were trying to do this on Fridays. I had to push it back a day early this week because of obligations on the weekend. I apologize. Next Friday should be it, though. So come back next Friday for another episode of DiabloCast, and we'll be talking about all sorts of stuff and everything. It's fun. All right, so for Jesse and for Kevin, this has been Dennis. We will see you guys next week.
Take it easy, guys.
See ya.
All right. Do we have anything funny to say before I shut this stream off?
I wanted to mention the fact that Jesse got hired and then immediately fired by Blizzard. I just think that's hilarious.
That's actually...
I would like to mention... I am, that's true. I'd like to mention that we got so many comments that said that did the math for us, and that are if the Blizzard CEO, if the CEO, if Morheim was like, I'll take a $3 million pay cut, people did the math, and basically for the 600 employees, that's $5,000 a year. And so they're like, God, you guys are so dumb. That's all. We were just flinging out numbers. Don't get on us because
First of all, I live on a ramen exclusive diet, so
Yeah,
$5,000 a year is more than enough to
Out of a
sustain
box.
myself.
Lives out of a woman.
Yeah, I think, and just for the sake of saying, I think a lot of people, sure, $5,000 a year. Let's be honest, most of those jobs, I almost want to say would probably make something like that.
Yeah,
Because
right,
I know a lot of people who are GMs and a lot of people who do customer support, and they don't make very much money at all. If anyone has any grand ideas of some $40,000 a year GM, you are insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't start making up numbers, because that's what we do. We make up the numbers here.
Idiots.
And what happens is we cut the cast before you guys get a chance to say anything about it. So this is obviously your fault, Jesse. This is why you get laid off.
It always is. Just another reason to add me to the fire pile.
All right.
Better